Hello everyone, this is a collaboration among the University of Genoa, armasuisse, and the Italian Ministry of Defense, and it's about TCAS. TCAS is the system that is the last line of defense against mid-air collision in aircraft. It's mandated basically on every aircraft you can find in US and EU, like the ones you have been coming to this conference with, and it operates automatically over radio. The three main things that it does are surveillance, traffic advisory, and resolution advisory. With surveillance, the idea was to put inside of the planes some kind of screen to allow them to see what traffic was around them. So how it works is that the TCAS transponder listens for other TCAS transponders and then interrogates them to discover their range, their altitude, and mutual position. This is an instrument to give people situational awareness. If an aircraft comes dangerously too close to some other, you get an alert. This is called the traffic advisory. This is just advisory, but you can also get a resolution advisory, which is when a traffic advisory becomes too urgent to ignore. This is a command that is sent to the pilots that is either a climb or a descent that will resolve the conflict and avoid, hopefully, the collision. Some aircraft automatically follow all of these resolution advisories once received. So the security profile of these is a protocol that was designed with no security in mind. So there is no authentication nor confidentiality measures, and you can read all of it over the internet or whatever. Still, there was no convincing evidence of any practical attack in scientific literature or whatsoever. So we found out 3 attacks. So the first one is obvious, is inducing a TA, so creating an aircraft. In order to create an aircraft, you basically need to re-implement a transponder. So you broadcast your presence, you reply to interrogation, and then you be in the correct dangerous spot. Then we, of course, followed with the resolution advisory. Resolution advisory means starting a negotiation with an aircraft that is flying and it's doing a traffic advisory with you. The attacker has an advantage, which is how you choose the maneuver is dictated by the aircraft that indicates the lower address. So an attacker can always choose if the other aircraft is going to climb or descend. Finally, we found out buried into the regulations that so TCAS works with something that is called sensitivity. So the higher you go, the more sensitive this system is. This could induce some spurious alerts near airports. So in the standard, they allowed ground station to override the currently set level, what this means is it's unauthenticated, is that you can, from the ground, disable air traffic collision avoidance on any aircraft. So why was this difficult? Why did no one try this before? So it works over radio with a protocol which is called Mode S. How it works is that you send an interrogation out on one frequency, 1030 megahertz, 56 or 112 bits of payload, and the other aircraft will reply to you on a different frequency, 1090 megahertz. And then the range of the other aircraft will be estimated by taking the time of flight and dividing it by the speed of light after applying a small delay of 128 microseconds. So these 128 microseconds is a comically small value. It's like 1,000 times lower than your operating system scheduler. So this has for a long time acted as a physical security feature. Not only that, you just don't need to get one interrogation right. You also need to handle, because the interrogation is coming on one channel, but you need to reply on another, so you need to handle coherence in between channels. And also you cannot shift your delay around, so you need to handle multiple interactions to engage with the protocol, so discover what's being sent to you and correctly reply to it, and always be in almost the same place. So the first problem we stumbled with was that how do you even test this? Because it's not exactly like a Docker container which you can run. So we started by producing a testbed of this, which of course contains a TCAS unit with all of its antennas in a Faraday cage, because you don't want to radiate radio out, all of the control unit and all of the outputs. Then we focused on introducing an attacker which was based on software-defined radios. Why? Because an attack is important when everyone has access to it. And so we targeted a budget of around 10,000 euros with software that you can buy off the shelf. And it can also be programmed like anyone that can program C, so that was our rationale. Finally, these systems are not built to be instrumented, so we had to build also a part that made the TCAS believe as if it was flying, and some kind of image recognition to discover what was currently on the screen. So what was the problem? So we start with Mode S, and actually, when we started, there were no real-time implementations allowing you to handle any of these three corners of the communication, and not even the multi-channel frequency coherence. So we started by implementing something that allowed us to interact with aircraft, which we both tested in a laboratory environment, and we also validated with a commercial RAM tester. Then we unlocked this performance of our system by leveraging a very complex software architecture, which can be summarized by a very fast part dedicated to receiving data, and something that allows us to preemptively respond as soon as we decoded enough bits to understand what was being sent to us. And of course, with a very heavy storage pre-calculation of what we needed to send. Then we had to do a lot more tricks to reduce latency. So we stripped our workstation out of all of the hardware. We removed all of the security and power saving features. We changed our operating system, and we did a lot of tweaks to the compiler and code. And then we leveraged pretty much every single hardware capability that is being offered today. So SIMID, custom memory allocation. So this allowed us to reduce our latency significantly compared to just the architecture alone. So what are our results? So qualitatively, we can induce ATA on an aircraft. We can also induce an array with arbitrary payload, and we can also deactivate the collision avoidance system of any given aircraft, because this is a standard. It's not about the hardware we used. To verify that, we also asked that, by posing as a tower to the aircraft, what was its current sensitivity level. We also tried to run this for extended period of time until basically the TCAS unit shut off. So we know that in a laboratory environment, these attacks are extremely reliable. Quantitatively, the kind of precision that an attacker can manage with the current capability, so what we have implemented is of around 25 meters, which is kept both for the single and also across different interrogation. This actually allows you to almost certify our implementation of a transponder. Also, as with anything radio, we don't manage 100% response rate, but a very high one. And we have 30 microseconds of spare delay with respect to 138. So why do we care? It's because if you want to attack an aircraft that is flying from the ground, you want to be closer to it. So you need to compensate for the speed of light. And with the current capabilities that we have, we can appear at distance 0, so we can put an aircraft on the nose as long as we are within 4.2 kilometers of distance from any flying aircraft. Taking this from a capabilities perspective, we measure how much time it took for an aircraft to go into a resolution advisory state. This means that currently we have the capability to induce an arbitrary array to an airline with a probability of 80%. About the other attacks, so the sensitivity level, I don't have any good graph to show you. It just works as long as it's received because it's in the standard. So I would like to conclude by saying that it's a systemic problem on a standard, so it's not about an implementation, and it's also on a very delicate topic because, as you know, aviation is very sensitive to this kind of problems. We started a disclosure process that is very long and difficult. We tried to contact manufacturers, we tried to contact authorities. Most of them have acknowledged us, but as you may understand, the system has been in operation since 1987. So even if we have right now fixed implementation, since it's dealing with anti-collision, you can always downgrade the protocol until everyone in the world has absolute certainty that the new secure system is being deployed. Also, to cope with all of the ethical concerns, all of our artifacts will never contain the code to enable the attacks that we discover, since it's not of great value to provide this kind of weapon to everyone. So I'd like to thank you for listening to me and open to your questions.